Welcome back, you guys, to Mixtape Talk. I'm joined by a special guest. Most of you guys know him as Joshua Blaze. I know him as Josh. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, Jason.
How you feel today?
Dude, I feel excellent, man.
Yeah?
I got to pull up to your gym.
I saw that.
Self-made. I ripped a session, arms and shoulders.
Is that your favorite body part to work out, arms? Because your arms
I love chest. Surprisingly, my arms aren't the favorite muscle group for me. No, chest day, because it gets you like a shoulder pump, chest pump, arm pump. You get the full package when you hit a chest session. But like today, because it's Friday and I had already ripped through every main muscle group earlier in the week, it was more so like whatever it is, whatever isn't sore, I'm going to smash it.
Nice.
It just so happened to be shoulders and arms.
Don't worry, you guys. We'll get more into his programs. I know you guys, so many questions we got about what's your workout split and stuff like that. But this podcast today is to get more in depth with you, right?
Okay.
I've known you for, I want to say, about a year, right? I met you through a mutual friend, Ruben.
Yes.
You've come to my gym, and one thing that stood out about me is how well-spoken and respectful you are. I remember the first time you came to my gym, I get guys that are ripped all the time. They come into my gym, rip their shirts off, start posing in front of the mirror. You guys, no shit. The first thing this guy did, he came up to me and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, is it okay if I take my shirt off?" I was like, "Yeah, fool, take your shirt off. You're above." But it stuck into my head because I'm like, no one's ever asked me that. But he's like, "I want to be respectful to everybody here.
Right.
It's my first time here." And that just kind of like, it stuck with me. And ever since then, we've been, exchanging DMs. You've been to the gym a couple times. And the more I get to know you, the more I know there's more to you than just what people see on Instagram, which is the physique, right? We'll get to the physique. I want to know, as a fan, how this whole started, how the Joshua Blaze movement started. So I want to know, just kind of tell me about like your childhood, where you grew up at, and kind of how fitness has always been tied into your life.
Okay. My brother's here. He's right behind the camera.
His brother is buff too, for no reason.
Brother. And so we were born in Philadelphia, and basically we ended up moving around to different states, made it to Florida. I'm going to cut a long story short. Made it to Florida is where we grew up for about 15 years. And ever since before I even got into working out, period, I've been influenced slightly by family members, by seeing things on TV, playing video games. Like anime obviously is a lot.
Yeah, you're a big anime guy.
I'm a big anime guy. And so one of my uncles, his name is Uncle Tank.
He better be big.
Uncle Tank would always keep me and my brother on our toes when it came to working out calisthenics-wise, push-ups, whatever we could do, pull-ups if we had access to it. But he would, whenever we saw him, or at least for me, I don't know about my brother, but whenever I saw him, I would get motivated because he was so big. And it was just, I was astonished and I was wowed by the sight of him. So I always wanted to catch up to him. And so whenever he came by and he told me to do push-ups, I was getting down and I was just running it.
How old were you in this? When you really were kind of like keeping track of yourself doing push-ups? And do you remember what grade?
It was never even on a solid track. It's just whenever I would hang out with him, whenever I'd see him, I'd just be reminded. Because every other time outside of hanging out with him, I was just, being a kid.
Yeah.
And so that was the initial, I guess, spark.
Yeah.
It was nothing solid, but it was the spark to let me know that, hey, there's something with this visual that I like, muscles. And from there, catch up back to Florida. I ended up growing up, went to middle school. I was always the skinnier kid. I was always the guy who would wear sweatpants, a full baggy hoodie with the hoodie on. I wasn't showing anything off. I was very skinny. And part of that reason was because I was so picky with eating. So, and I mean picky. On the plate, if the food was touching, I wouldn't want to eat it.
Right.
Literally.
My daughter's like that.
Throwing the food away that I didn't want to eat. I was so picky, and I was small. I was skinny. I didn't have muscle mass at all. You could see my ribs. You could see my clavicle, my collarbone. And it ultimately hit me because actually me and my brother, we didn't get along well growing up. We never threw punches. We never were hands-on. We would wrestle sometimes when we would have disagreements, but we never threw hands, luckily. But we would always argue. And every single argument, basically, and I'm not putting any bad negative energy on him.
His brother's over there like, watch yourself, watch yourself.
He would find some way to call me a toothpick or make some reference to me being a small pushover. And he's ultimately the one who made me snap. I don't know if I ever told him that. But
the podcast.
Because I lived with them.
Yeah.
I grew up with them. And it was like basically an everyday thing we would argue. And so I was like, you know what, man, I've had enough of this trash. And I think I had a PSP at the time. I had some internet connection. So I remember one day after an argument of ours, I went online and I was just like, you know what? how do I get bigger arms? That's the first
Is that
thing
what you really fucking Googled?
Literally. Yes. I Googled it. How do you get bigger arms? And of course it told you that your triceps is 2/3 your arm.
You still remember all that?
I still remember it.
Funny.
I still remember it because from that day on, I was literally in my room with my mother's dumbbells, which were probably 5 and 10 pound dumbbells. That's what she had at the house on accessible wise. And I would freaking lay in my room on my bed, like I won't say every day, but at least every other day. I'd be hitting some kickbacks, some tricep extensions, doing my push-ups. That's when I really started taking it seriously because I reached that rock bottom of being fed up. And from there, that's what I kept doing until I went to high school. And luckily for me, my high school had a weightlifting class. And I say luckily because I know a lot of high schools don't. They don't have access to that. They don't have that privilege. So luckily for me, I had that. I got into class for an elective sophomore year. That's when I finally was able to get on track, a solid track.
Nice.
Because every day I was going to that class, and I immediately fell in love with it. They had all the training regimens I needed. My coach educated me. I learned about each muscle, and each muscle by like the scientific term. So
so you had a good coach.
I had a good coach.
You didn't just have some guy that said, okay, go do bench and go do, I mean, I remember mine was pretty much, we all got in there, bullshitted and did bench and arms.
Typical bro.
We didn't learn anything from that teacher.
Really?
No, it was just there to keep tabs on us and make sure we were there. So whoever was in charge actually broke down different muscle groups. That's awesome, dude.
Yes, and
we need more people like that.
On it, and we had tests where we would have to increase weight, like on a bench. We had our main lifts. We had our deadlift challenges. We had shoulder press. We had to max out like every other week. So that class was something serious, and people will vouch for me because I just saw recently a buddy of mine who I went to high school with named William. He commented on one of my posts. I put a transformation picture of me from back then to me now. And he literally hopped on because he saw all the hateful comments. And he said, I went to school with him. I saw him in class and he was always the first one in there, already training before we even got there. And he was the last one to leave. And I'm like, that's actually how it was. I promise you. And so I was in there and I took that class very seriously. Ended up having that class all of sophomore year. Junior year, I was in that class again because it was weightlifting 1 and 2. Yeah. Then it went to weightlifting 3 and 4. And then also, junior year, I joined the weightlifting team.
You guys had a weightlifting team?
Yes.
Damn.
And that was all bench, clean and jerks, squats. So that was the powerlifting side.
Wow.
The class was all about just working out and just taking your fitness seriously. And then I was getting 2 workouts a day from then on, junior year. In the class, and then after school for training and practice.
Did you play sports at this time too, or just literally was weightlifting your sport?
Weightlifting was my sport.
Awesome.
The football coach, when I started making gains.
Oh, he probably saw those legs and he's like, bro, let me put a football in your hand, have you run up the hole.
Yeah, I know. He would, every time he saw me in the hallway, he's just, when are you trying out for the team?
Yeah.
And I always refused them because I knew that they would run people till they puked. And
you're not trying to lose your gains.
I'm not trying to do that. Exactly, bro. I just came from being skinny. Now I'm not trying to go back. All that cardio.
I ain't trying to do cardio. I ain't trying to lose these gains.
Exactly. No, but so yeah, that's how it happened, man. Weightlifting class, sophomore year. Weightlifting the team and the class, junior year. And then I fell in love with the team and the class so much that I had already got all my credits for high school.
So what kind of student, I want to go back on that because for me, I mean, you're really well spoken.
Thank
you. We'll get more into that. But what kind of student were you in high school?
I was
like an A student, or were you kind of just?
I was an A and B honor roll.
Okay.
And the main reason for that is because I knew I would get whipped by my mother if I didn't get A and B honor roll. That's the kind of discipline that I was raised with, and honestly, it kept me on track. I'm glad I had that discipline.
100%.
So, that kept me on track for A and B honor roll. And to be honest, I was never the kid who got in trouble. There were things like minor things that I would do just to have fun at school. And I was growing up, I was a teenager. But no, I was always taking my grades seriously and never really messing around. All I wanted to do was just go to school, hang out with the friends, train, and play video games.
Wow, so you've had that mentality for a while then, huh?
Yes.
You've had just pretty much the same Josh you are now you were when you were like in high school, it seems like.
Basically.
Right?
And just the goals have continued to evolve.
Nice.
And that's what I always say, like goals. There are things that, like if you reach a goal, if you're an ambitious person, you never really stop there. Like you reach a goal and then it's just on to the next and they evolve. They never cease to exist. It's just like you reach this one and then it just continues to climb the ladder. So that was how I came up, I guess I can say it like that.
Yeah.
Because I reached, at that time I was focused on the numbers in powerlifting. That was my game. Those are my roots, lifting heavy and just beasting it. So that's a lot of the training you see today, and I guess the intensity you find in my videos when you see me on Instagram or when you see me on YouTube, that comes from the team, because that's what really taught me how to dig deep. Because on the powerlifting team, I love how weightlifting as a sport, as the Olympic lifting, it's only you when you step up to that mat. It's only you and the weight, and there's no team effort there. Obviously, in practice, it's a team effort when you have to get all your max lifts and everybody's cheering you on. Yeah, let's go. If you're going for a max, but when it comes time for the meet and you go to your platform, literally the weight is just sitting there. If it's on the floor for a clean and jerk, or it's on a bench, and then your spot is there just to freaking hand you the weight, and then boom. If you're not up for the task, if you can't handle it, you're getting sunk like the Titanic.
Have you ever thought about doing any powerlifting meets?
I thought about it.
Because I've always known you as like the classic bodybuilder, you know, classic physique guy.
I thought about doing some powerlifting meets. For me now, because I haven't focused on numbers primarily for a long time. For me, it's been more so of a hybrid mix between lifting heavy, training as heavy as I can while keeping form, doing a lot of reps, bodybuilder style. So I always like to stay in between somewhere. But I know that if I were to focus on powerlifting, I would have to take some time off to build my numbers. That's the biggest thing that holds me back from doing a weightlifting show, like a powerlifting show. But I mean, it's something I'm definitely open to.
I could see you doing that in the future.
That would bring that, I guess, that fire. Not that I don't have it, but it would bring more of that fire back from the way I started.
Come back to your roots and just dominate.
Dude, and I love lifting heavy, man. Whenever, literally in the gym, if you see me put on some weight that I usually don't do, if it's like a lot of plates, or if it's like a weight that obviously takes some effort to freaking lift, sometimes I'll laugh, or like I'll smile naturally. Like I'll have a big old smile on my face because it just takes me back there.
To those days.
To those days, man. Yeah.
Nice. I'm total opposite. I'm like, fuck, I better get this thing up.
Yeah, there's honestly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do that too.
Yeah.
Like there's some days where I'm like, fuck me, dude, I gotta hit this. But then there are days where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this.
Right. I don't know who it was, but I remember someone telling me like those reps or that weight that you get and you get nervous and you get scared, like you don't know what's going to happen. Those are the ones that are going to push those little extra gains.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm old school in that sense where, you know, yes, you want to hit comfortable numbers, but you always want to be uncomfortable in the gym.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what pushed. Even when I was doing my show, it was like tired. I would actually look at a lot of your posts because I mean, even your stories, you're just so intense with it. And, you know, you people that don't know you personally would think, oh, that's just, you know, for Instagram. But no, this guy is literally like this all the time. And he doesn't mean it in like a negative way. Like you guys aren't doing what you should be doing. He just said like, lead by what I do. Mm-hmm. Right. And you practice what you preach all the time.
I never put on a front for social media.
I love that about you.
It's sad and it's a shame that people do. And I'm not saying anything bad about anybody because, I mean, do what you do. But for me personally, I know that I want to be authentic, and I know that I want to lead the people who follow me or at least look up to me. I want them to actually know that this is me. I deal with struggles. There are my good days, there are my bad days, but I always make sure that I handle what I need to handle. And if I fall, I just keep getting back up. Nothing on my story, nothing on my page is faked. It's not a front. That's 100% me. My captions, my goofy days, me singing on my story, playing guitar, like everything I do is just completely me. And I know that I'm lacking on the ways that I portray my personality, because that's something I'm working on, being more open to my followers, my people.
Right.
But yeah, mainly, like you said, like you see me in the gym with that intensity. That's even on a lightweight. Still
yeah,
me,
you hyped up on 5 pounds. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm about to kill these 5 pound shoulder presses. All right, so high school, you actually were really good in high school. I mean, grades wise. So you went to college. What college did you go to?
I went to Daytona State College in Florida.
Okay, so let's start from there because I know you do have some military background. So I kind of want to get to all that. So how long were you in college for? What kind of transpired there?
So I ended up being dual enrolled junior year of high school. And for those of you who don't know what that is, you do high school at the same time you take college classes. So I had, I believe, 2 college classes junior year. So I would do my, I guess, 3 periods in high school, half of the day, and then I would leave high school, go to the college, do the 2 courses, and that would be my day, all the junior year. And then senior year, like I was saying before, I didn't get to finish that. I had the opportunity to ditch high school because I already had all my high school credits. I could have just strictly gone to college because I was still dual enrolled. And I could have just taken college full, like by the horns. And what held me in high school literally was just the team. I stayed in high school for the weightlifting team because I loved it so much. So I believe senior year of high school, I had one main class, which was probably agriculture or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the other class, luckily for me, I approached my weightlifting class teacher. And because he knew that I was actually about it and I wasn't somebody who kidded around in that class, I was there to actually work. I pleaded with him because I had already taken 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I wasn't supposed to have that class for a third year. That goes against the rules. But I told him, I was like, look, man, I can go to college, but I love the team and this class has changed my life. I love it so much. Can you please allow me to take another year? And then long story short, he did. He let me take 3 and 4 again. So I had weightlifting class for a third year straight. And on top of that, I was in the team again. So I was, like I said, 2 workouts at least a day. And so that's a thing that a lot of people don't understand about me. From the jump, I took it like 120%. I wasn't just catching workouts here and there and just like adapting to the lifestyle. I was like, from the moment I got into class, I was there and beyond, doing at least 2 workouts, going to the training, going to the meets. And I was like, that was my whole world in high school. And so that's why after high school, and let's continue on the college.
Yeah.
So I ended up having those 2 classes in high school and being dual enrolled. Finished the team, finished weightlifting class in high school, ended up graduating. I took college full term for a whole nother year after that. And that's when military came. If you want to dive into that, that's not too complicated of a story, but basically how the military came about was I was going down a path that I didn't like. I was doing things that I wasn't proud of. And I knew it got to a very bad point, to the point where I wanted to be away. I wanted to leave where I was living. I didn't want to be around anybody. And I ended up remembering, because the military, the Marine Corps specifically, came to my school for that presentation. You know how they do.
Yeah.
Trying to hype it up. Yeah, this is the best thing ever. We go to travel. We can do these kind of jumping out of planes and shooting these guns. And
you're like, say less.
I was like, say less, bro. Like when they came in, which I can't even remember when in high school, but they came in and it always left a good impact on my mind as far as the military itself. So it was always lingering in the back there. And then I just blew it off because I knew my mother had a problem with me wanting to join. Obviously, she doesn't want her child going to the military.
Yeah.
So I just had completely forgot about it. I was going down that path, got to that bad point to where I wanted to leave. And I remembered the Marine Corps said, or at least in the training, that you can be gone for 13 weeks, like off the radar, away from everybody. And only your close people can send you letters to contact you. And so that's literally me being away was what drove me to really speak to like a Marine Corps recruiting office. I reached out to a buddy of mine who was active duty in the Marine Corps. I went to high school with him. He ended up joining as soon as he got out. So I had a plug in there who I could get answers from. I reached out to him. How's it going, man? How's this working out? Would you like it? Do you think I should do it? And he took me straight to his recruiter in Daytona Beach, Florida, which wasn't too far from me. Went there, sat in the office, spoke to him, gave him my spiel, told him why I wanted to join. And I didn't explain all that I went down a bad path, but I was just like, this sounds cool. I want to do it. What are my options? So he had me take the ASVAB to see what I could qualify for MOSs, which are military occupations. And I scored pretty high. I had a good option list. And then, so I decided to sign up. I was like, screw it, I need to leave. So
kind of going back to that, I mean, for me, military, I know a lot of friends that did do the military route, and a lot of them kind of the same situation. They were either running from something, they were in a bad path. I had a lot of friends that were in gangs, and they try to reform, but you're in the same neighborhood.
Yes.
What was it that you were trying to get away from? What was some of those bad habits that you were doing that you're like, I just need to be off the radar for like 13 weeks? That sounded so appealing to you. Like, what were you going through that was like your last straw to join the military?
So it was one thing. It was one thing that I did that a lot of people found out about. And it was bad publicity, very bad. And it was very overwhelming to me. I'm not going to go into what it was. But it drove me, like it had me tripping out really heavily. And side note, I never, or at least before, I would never stress out. Like stress to me back then was something so foreign to me because naturally, I guess I had a habit of knowing that, hey, it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can't control this. Screw it. I'm not going to let myself get torn up over it. It's just like I would shrug it off. I can shrug off things very easily. That had me tripped up. Wow. What I did in the aftermath of it had me tripped up really bad. And so that's why I wanted to get away, and I needed to get away fast.
Nice. So you go, you do the military. Mm-hmm. How long did you serve for?
I served 5 years.
Wow. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, I always tell you that, but military to me is one thing that I could never see myself doing, but I have so much respect for people that do military because they don't understand, being away from family, potentially, especially nowadays, war and stuff like that. And there's a guy that I know that left, and he's in Japan right now, on the brink of everything that's going on, and literally no hesitation, no fear. He's like, I got to serve my country.
Yes.
And I mean, to have that much pride in your country, to me, is really, really commendable and respectful. So I'm pretty sure you get all the time, but thank you for your service.
Of course.
5 years in. I mean, I know we'll go a little in depth with this in 2020. There's a lot of things that went on with the vaccinations and stuff like that. So do you want to go kind of the reason why you decided to stop, kind of discontinue your time with the military?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. 2020 was crazy. The whole year
You're
was
telling
nuts,
me, bro.
Dude.
I owned a gym. Trust me.
Yeah. Business-wise, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
COVID kicked off. So this is where I need to back up and explain something as far as the way I got into the military. Initially, when I went to the office, I signed up for active duty. And at the time, I wasn't really thinking. I was just all about getting away. So I signed up active duty. This is my MOS. Cool. I'll take it. Boom. Signed the contract, and I was just awaiting to be shipped out to boot camp. Then I ended up doing my first and second bodybuilding show. Like a month before I was supposed to leave. My ship date, I did my bodybuilding show like a month before.
Wow.
After doing that show, which was my first ever, I won it at 19. I won that show. And for the longest time, I had put off bodybuilding because it wasn't my gig. I knew that I didn't want to get up on stage in a freaking like something close to a man thong and pose in front of a bunch of people. That wasn't why I was training. I was just training to get big.
Yeah.
So I ended up sucking it up, listening to people who kept, you look good, bro. You need to do this show. And I knew I was turning 20 in boot camp. And basically, long story short, I knew that I wouldn't be able to do a teen division ever again. So that's when I was like, you know what? Screw it, dude. I'm about to go to boot camp. I'm about to be away, active duty. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I did that show. I won it. And that is what really sat in my mind. And I was like, damn, maybe I could do something in the fitness industry. I didn't have a solid plan. I didn't know where I would go with it. I was just like, dude, my first ever show, and I love fitness. I've been doing this for a while. Just did this show, and I crushed it. I didn't expect to crush it. And I'm not saying that I was better than anybody in the show, because the placing that I got, I didn't believe it. And I was just happy to get that.
Yeah.
I won the show.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I know that if I go active duty, there's no way that I'll have the time. There's no way I'll be able to invest in what I want to do here in fitness. So that's when I went to my recruiter immediately after that show. And I told him, hey, I don't want to do active duty anymore. I want to take some time off and to like regather my mind and see what I really want to do. He was mad at me.
Of course.
And he thought that I got cold feet, when ultimately that wasn't the reason. I wanted to still join, which is why I switched to reserves instead of active duty. And reserves would allow me to live my civilian life, live wherever I want to live, and still be attached to a unit that I could go to one weekend a month. And that's what I ended up doing. I told him, because I took a month off. After I told him, I was like, hey, I don't want to go active duty. I want to hold off for a second. Got mad at me. Then I came back to him like a month later, and I was like, hey, I still want to join. Can I switch the contract to reserves? Is that possible? And he said, yeah. So he pulled some strings to get it switched, got me my ship date, and I was gone. And then that's what ultimately led me to being able to move from where I was at the time, Florida. I was attached to a unit in Orlando. Once I got done with basic training, I was in Orlando. I moved from Florida to California, and I was attached to a unit in Sacramento because it was close to where I was living.
Yeah.
Then I finally made my way to LA, and I was attached to a unit in Bell, which was close to where I was living. And speed back up to 2020, COVID happened. That had us not coming to drill weekend at my unit for about 5 months straight, because of obviously everyone wanted to stay away from everybody.
Right.
And finally, the rules got a little less hectic. We were just wearing masks. We showed up to the unit, obviously abiding by the rules, stay 5 feet away, whatever it was. And then obviously COVID escalated with the amount of cases and the vaccine being implemented. It ended up becoming mandatory. And as much as I'd seen it, as much as I'd heard about the vaccine and even researched, because I did my research, I decided against it. I didn't trust it. I don't trust the government. I know they play games.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I decided no. Like, because the military told us, hey, you have this mandate. Like, if you don't have the vaccine by this date, if you cannot prove your vaccine, if you don't have the card, we're separating you. And initially, it was other than honorable conditions discharge, which would have meant no veteran title, no benefits, nothing.
Yeah.
Completely separated, like you never joined. So even with that, I said, you know what? I'm not going to be a sheep right now. I'm going to hold up to my morals and what I believe in, and I'm not going to cave in. I'm not. So I told them that. And it took a few months because they had to get all the final medical procedures done, all the tests, just to make sure we were still operable. And then come January of this year, I did the final separation process. It took 3 days, came into the unit with, I think, 5 other Marines. Because there were multiple, like, it wasn't just me, obviously. There were other guys, other females who wanted to separate. They weren't with it. They weren't with the BS either. So I went in there with a few other Marines. We went through the process together. I had to turn in all my uniforms, all my gear. They stripped me of everything. And that is what hurt.
I was going to say that must, I mean, even though you made the decision to do that, you've served 5 years.
Yeah. So like, I'm happy that I got to serve at least half of my contract. As a reserves, I had to serve 6. Active duty would have been 4. Since you're full time, you're living on base, they would have had you do 4. And then reserves, since it's only 1 week in a month, you do 6 years. And so I served 5. Literally January was my 5th year. So I had 1 more year left. And so it was no problem for me to say no to the military because I was happy with the time I served.
Yeah.
And I had things going on outside of the military for me that would be able to keep me up finance-wise.
Right.
Like, just my whole vision was already there outside of the military. That's not what I joined for. I didn't join because I'm full gung-ho and trying to do all this training and go across the country and, like, you know, attack and be in violent situations. I didn't join because of that. But what hurt, like I said, I didn't have a problem being separated. But what hurt was how they made me turn in all my gear and everything that I had that basically affiliated me with the military. I just had to give everything away. And when that happened, honestly, I got a little choked up. Like that day at the unit when we were in the gear room and they had us going through our uniforms. I brought the whole bag of uniforms, our whole uniform bag. And each one, they were just like, hey, do you have this one? Pull it up. All right, put it in the bag. And the whole time I was just like, damn, wow, dude. And yeah, because I mean, I love the Marine Corps. I love the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
The government can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
But I love the Marine Corps.
The brothers.
The brotherhood, man. Sisterhood, brotherhood. I love it. The camaraderie and the whole Marine Corps as, you know, as the branch. It's just what it stands for. I absolutely have no animosity towards it. And yeah, so I'll always back the Marine Corps. I have nothing bad to say. But the government, like I said. So
that post you made public,
yes.
You put it on your IG. I was kind of going through some of the comments and it was very mixed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very mixed. What would you say to some of these people now? Because there were some pretty harsh things on there that I even read. Like, you know, you're a traitor. You believe this. I was like, how is he a traitor? He's not going to another country. I read a couple that you know, are you doing your research on this vaccine? And now we're 3 years in, and you know, I don't know enough to really speak all the way through it. But mm-hmm. you know, there's some people that are having heart issues. There's the Johnson & Johnson that they just literally said are causing blood clots. You know. Though minor, it's still something enough where they say don't take it if you're under the age of 18, which is alarming to me. Mm-hmm. But what would you say to some of those people now, kind of in retrospect? Like, do you still stand by obviously what you did? Like,
I will say that I do not have the full knowledge to be able to speak fully on it, just like you said. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is I fully stand by the decision I made. I don't take anything back. I don't regret it. When it comes to personal beliefs and morals, you should always stick by that. I don't care what it is, unless it's actually like whatever it is. If it's wrong against what you believe in, then you should stand by what you believe. That's period, point blank. And especially when it comes to something like that, that's my body, which is your temple. And this is my moneymaker. This is fitness. I take this seriously more than anything. Fitness first. And I'm not saying, like I said, I have nothing bad against the Marine Corps, but they say Marine for it first. No, I say my health first. Because this was here way before I joined the Marine Corps. And like I said, I chose reserves for a reason. And I'm not going to subject myself to something that isn't even solid. And it's experiments, and it's like finalized, I guess. I don't even know the word to put there, but in like obviously all the vaccines and all the research, all the aftermath cases that are showing people getting jacked up. And I'm not saying that everybody's a bad case, but even how small the percentage may be that people are getting jacked up from these vaccines, what if I am that percentage?
Exactly.
And what if I gave in just to be a part of this organization that, first of all, I already signed up for? I already signed my life away, basically. And I'm not saying that in a negative term, but I signed my life away. If the Marine Corps, if the military needs me to go somewhere to fight this battle, I'm doing that. But something as simple as a shot, a vaccine, and you want to separate me, then separate me. I'm not like I said, there's not much more to say to it.
Yeah. No, I know. I thought it was very honorable, the way you handled it, the way you did it. You didn't just cut ties and say that's it. You kind of did a post, and you thanked everybody that you did work with in the military, your brothers, your sisters, and you stated why you didn't want to, which I don't know why people would give a negative response to that, because that's your opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but getting a lot of respect from me. I think I even DM you like, bro, that's really respectable for you, the way you address it. You could have been on there and say F this and F that and everybody, but you're like, everyone has their own beliefs.
Yes.
And so you just kind of separated yourself. But luckily for you, you had a plan already after the military. So, I mean, you've been killing it in the social media space.
Thank you.
Fitness. I mean, I know you do modeling. You're wearing the Raw gear right now.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been with Raw?
I've been with Raw gear for, probably 2.5 years now.
How long have they been out for? 5 years or a little bit longer?
I know that Raw gear started off as Bradley Martin Fit.
Right.
And it was
like BM Fit. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I think it was in production for 3 years.
Yeah.
Just with Bradley modeling all his products and all his clothing, all his merch. And then I ended up being the first athlete for Raw gear. The very first outside.
So you're the first ever, huh? How did you get linked up with Bradley?
So COVID kicked
good old COVID,
2020. Good old COVID.
The goods and the bad.
Yeah, exactly. COVID kicked off the beginning of 2020 and shut everything down, obviously, including all gyms, basically. At least to my knowledge at the time.
Except for Bradley's.
Except for Bradley's. And I found that out 3 weeks after having been shut down, because COVID kicked off and I knew that my gym memberships, there's no way I was going to a gym. So I ended up going to a park nearby the house where I was living. And that park was called Warner Center Park. And they have a whole bunch of jungle gym type equipment there, like pull-up bars, dip bars, even some for abs, chest, like chest flies.
Yeah.
Little kid type.
Yeah, they have something like that in Pasadena too. It's pretty cool.
But that's all I had, because I had very light dumbbells at the house and I needed something more. And I wasn't going to stay in the house the whole time. I knew that for damn sure. So I was going to that park for 3 straight weeks. And
people in the neighborhood probably like, who the fuck is this dude?
Yeah, man.
Big old buff dude.
And I wasn't messing around out there. But,
no, I know. You're probably going ham with little kids trying to play on the monkey bars. You're all doing pull-ups and stuff.
What I liked about it is it put things into perspective, man.
Big time.
And I ended up, the 3rd week, that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Because the motivation was slowly dying. I'm not going to be fake right now. The longer I took without having actual iron and weight that I could actually put effort and struggle into lifting, I was like, dude, I know I'm not even maintaining right now.
Yeah.
I'm losing muscle mass. I'm getting softer. I'm losing my vascularity. Like, what am I doing? This park isn't going to hold me up.
Yeah.
So I went online and I was like, what? There's got to be a gym open, dude. Saw Zoo Culture. I had never been there
advertised
before.
that he was open?
No.
Okay, I was like, I know he's gangster. I know Bradley Martin's gangster.
I know, he probably would have done it anyway.
He probably would have done it anyways. I mean, that guy. Go on.
No, yeah, you're good. So I saw it on Google search, gyms that are near me, open now. I saw Zoo Culture. I'd never been there before. Of course, I've heard of it. And I never went because of that day fee. That thing was like $75, I think, back then when I wanted to go for a day pass. I was like, yeah, I'll pass. I'll stick to my LA Fitness. But ended up being the only gym open. I'm like, fuck it. So I went with a buddy of mine named Marcus. You probably seen him on my Instagram, Prince London.
Yes.
Shout out to him. He's my boy. So we went there the same day, walked inside of Zoo, packed, bro. Oh my God. Went in there straight, like the smell of just sweating, like everybody getting it in. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad, because I mean that means work's being put in.
Yeah.
Going there and I'm overlooking the wall. I'm looking at the gym. I'm like, damn, looks like a lot of equipment. So I went up to the front. I'm like, how much is it? And at the time, because I guess he was trying to make it easier for people to have access to gyms, it was $75 as opposed to what it was. I think it was way higher when it came to like outside of
Really? So he actually dropped the price?
He dropped the price.
Good for him.
So it was $75, and at least from my memory, I think it was 75. So I signed up immediately, and from that day on, I was just ripping it every single day. Went in there, and at the time, not even just gyms were shut down. The water systems were shut down. Freaking electricity. It was very hot. There was no water, no fountains. He had to bring the fans out, and like big old fans that were fanning us in there. It was a bad setup as far as like, not equipment wise, but just atmosphere.
Oh, I mean, he was trying to. I mean, we were doing the same thing at Self-Made. We were trying to adjust to the environment.
Yes.
You know, but I know for zoo culture, from what I've seen online, they were cutting the power. The water company was cutting water.
They were trying to shut him down.
They were trying to shut him
bro.
down. And to his to Bradley's respect, he practices what he preaches as well, and he was like, I'm not going to stand for this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he stood up and fought the whole way through, and I respect that about him as well. That's how I got to zoo. And I remember the second day I was there, I think I was hitting chest with Marcus, and never had spoken to Brad. I didn't go there to freaking make connects. I came there just to lift because I needed some weight. So I'm in there, and me and Marcus just getting it on, hitting the chest session, getting a stupid, silly pump, a nice sweat. Brad comes up to us, and the first thing, this is my first time ever meeting him, and he looks at me. Mid-pump, mid-exercise, he's like, dude, you're looking fucking sick. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Brad. And then from there, I think not even a week later, Steve, the manager of Raw Gear, emails me. And I was like, I looked at his email, and it said, hey, my name is Steve. I am the manager for Raw Gear. I work with Brad, and we're expanding our brand. We wanted to know if you want to be a part of it. I'd never had a sponsorship, not one. That was the first.
Wow, so Raw Gear was your first, huh? I thought you would have had others.
I turned a lot of them down, because even before I had sponsorships, even before I reached where I am now, social media wise, I've always had high standards, and I know a lot of these brands want to I'm not trying to use this word in a bad sense, but they want to make you a slave. They want to provide you with some kind of product or whatever it is to have you advertise on your page back to back,
right,
and make them hella money when you're not even making money yourself.
So what was it about Raw Gear that you just like, okay, I love them, I'm going to sign with them, being your first?
Well, first of all, it was very close to where I was living. It was 10 minutes away. And on top of that, it was a clothing sponsor. It's a clothing sponsor that I had seen before. And on top of that, it was owned by Bradley Martin, who I knew was huge in the industry. So it was backed by somebody who at least had credibility, who at least had clout, who at least people could see and immediately reference to, hey, this is Bradley's brand.
Oh, yeah.
And so I already knew that there was some kind of productivity there in a good direction, like good progress. That's what I put together in my head. So I signed with them. And from there on, I think that was, what was that? It was definitely early 2020. So I went through a whole year with Raw Gear. Ended up, after the contract concluded, I decided to take some time off because I was balancing a lot in my life. I think I ended up taking about 4 or 5 months off from being a part of Raw Gear. And then the car accident. The car accident happened. Then I really was going through it. I almost died there. And after like a few months after that, I ended up signing with Raw Gear again. And I've been with them since January. So yeah, it's May now. So 5 months in again. So I did a whole year and 5 months so far.
Yeah, no, it's a solid clothing company.
Thank
I know.
you. Yeah,
I mean, you see
dope.
them everywhere. I mean, Bradley did an awesome job in who he selects for his models, and because everyone that I've seen, they live it, they eat it, they breathe it. They're about the brand.
Right.
So I mean, obviously, you would be the perfect candidate for it. So, kind of going back to what you just talked about right now, I know I wanted to touch on that. Is your car accident? Anyone that follows you know that was a major thing in your life recently as well.
Yeah. September.
Again, I messaged you right away, not expecting you to message back because I know you're going through a lot. But kind of, how did that even happen? Do you remember a lot of it?
I remember.
Kind of walk us through just everything that day.
Got you. So that day was actually 9/11, September. and I was in San Diego, Miramar, visiting a Marine Corps buddy of mine named Tyler Valencia. And shout out to him, man. I'll explain to you why he basically saved my life that night. I was hanging with him because we were trying to get some content. Obviously, it's a 9/11. It's a well-known day, obviously, for America and for military. So we were out there trying to get some content at Miramar Marine Corps Base, hanging out with him. It was a long day. We ended up going into night. We got as much content as we could get during the day, like workout type stuff. And we didn't get everything we wanted. So I decided I asked him if I could sleep over at his barracks and wake up early in the morning to get the rest of the content before I headed back to LA, which was like 2 hours away. And so we agreed on that, went to his barracks. We're hanging up for a little bit, and then I never go out. I don't drink. I don't do anything like that. I never go out at night. I'm not a night guy. But he is sometimes. So he invited me out to this bar that was going to be like not too far away. And we came to the conclusion that it's going to be better than just sitting in his barracks at night. So we went out there, had a good time. I don't drink at all. So literally we went to the bar. He linked up with his boys. We stayed there for like, 3-4 hours. And I was just sipping water out the cup. That's me at the bar. I probably went to the front desk probably like 10 times asking for a water refill. And
you're like, you guys got rains here? They're like, no, we don't have rains. Get some water.
No, but it was cool. I mean, I was just observing. That's me whenever I go to a club. I'm usually there just as security and just keeping surveillance. That's not even that's what I like to do. It's just what I do because I don't know. I don't drink, so it's not like I feel the need to interact with everybody else who's out of their freaking mind.
Yeah.
So I'm there just chilling the whole time he's hanging with his buddies. We get done. Like I said, I didn't have a single sip of alcohol. We go for some food because freaking 4 hours there, I'm hungry as shit. We go to a Denny's, which was not too far away. Me and Tyler, we go to this Denny's, have a big meal, and now we're leaving Denny's. This is about, I'd say it's close to 2 a.m, long night. And so I'm driving, and this was the time when I had my Audi 2021. I had leased it, had it for 3 months. We're driving home, back to his barracks, and I was definitely tired. It was a late night, so I'm driving. We're about to be coming up on his exit. So I am speeding up because I see in my left lane, I'm all the way on the right lane.
Yeah.
There's a semi in the lane close to me on the left. And so I end up making my way to speed up to try to, because I don't like passing a semi going slow, because obviously you have to make it past that. You have to get to the points where they can see you before they try to turn and hit you. And so I'm speeding up to make my way out of this turn, this exit, to go back to his barracks. And the semi ends up crossing into my lane when I'm coming up at a quicker rate. And like I said, I was already on the right side. So first of all, there wasn't much room for me to be able to swerve to the right to avoid it. And I ended up trying for it anyway, because I'm not going to just run into the back of a semi. But that's exactly what I did. I tried to make it out of the way by swerving right. And literally all I remember saying, like right before it happened, was just, I said, oh shit. And I remember pulling the wheel to the right, and then right after that, blacked out. I was knocked out on impact. And so that accident, I ended up rear-ending the semi. It folded, so it basically barely even touched the hood of my car, because the back end of it was like obviously lifted. Yeah. And it's got that big old door on the back of it. So that door completely folded in the windshield and the top of my car, took a direct blow to my face, and I was knocked out on impact. Tyler, who was in the passenger seat, somehow didn't get injured at all, luckily. And he ended up reaching over, because the car was still rolling. I was knocked out. He reached over, from what he told me, grabbed the wheel with one hand, pulled us off the road, and put his other hand on the brake to stop the car. And so this whole time I'm still knocked out. I come back to, and I can't even open my eyes, because obviously I just took a whole smashed hit to the face, and my head was in a lot of pain. I'd never been in a car accident like that, ever. And the first thing I thought of when I came back to, because I couldn't open my eyes, and the pain is just, it's very numb and it's stinging at the same time. And I remember thinking that this is a dream. Like literally, that's the first thing I said. I was like, this is a dream. I'm dreaming. And then the pain lingered a little bit too long. And I was like, I don't know if this is a dream. And then it came back to me what had happened. That split second when I tried to pull away. And I was like, I really just got in that accident. This is real life right now. I just came up on the back of that semi. And then all I heard from him was, apply pressure, like a good Marine. He had taken off his jacket that he wore to the club, and he was holding it over my left eyebrow, because this scar right here, it's obviously gone. It's barely noticeable now, but that thing was bleeding out hard, lost a lot of blood. And so he was holding it over my eyebrow, telling me to apply pressure. And I did the only thing I could do, because thankfully none of the rest of my body was jacked. It was just my head. So I freaking lifted my left arm and I just held it there. And I don't even remember being able to speak clearly. I don't even know if I was trying to talk, but I just held it there because that's the only thing I could do. And then I heard the sirens come up, the ambulance, fire truck probably, and I heard them arrive. I heard them get out. I heard them come to my door, try to open it. They couldn't, so they had to saw the door off. And they got the door off. They ended up pulling me out. There's no way I could have moved. So I remember getting pulled out, eyes still closed. They laid me down on my back. And I know I passed out on the drive to the hospital, because I don't remember that drive at all. And it's probably because the adrenaline wore off during the drive. Right. So I went straight into rest. Woke up in the hospital on the bed, under all the light, with everybody over top of me, working on me, stitching me up already. And yeah, that's how that night went. Ended up being in the hospital for 4 days, ICU. I remember having swallowed a lot of blood initially, obviously, because I had taken that blow to the head. So whenever they were done stitching me up and they had me, like, I guess, leaned up slightly in the bed to rest, they would have me drinking water. And every sip I took, every time I took one sip, I'd throw it right back up because I had swallowed so much blood. It wasn't mixing. So I ended up getting over that. And that sucked, having to throw up, because I took
stitches and stuff like that,
and everything in my face, and I'd have to
stomach acid and
and stretching my face out to throw it. I was in some pain, but I made it through. There was could have been a lot worse. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, grace of God, you're good. Crazy. What would you say now? You've been through that. How has that changed your life now?
How has that changed my life now? I definitely am way more appreciative. I am making sure that I do not overdo it, because at that time I was trying to do way too much. And I'd been told that multiple times by different people. You need to slow down. You're out here like running around all day. You don't take a break. You're missing meals. You barely get sleep. And it's just because, like we spoke about when I saw your post for the podcast that other time. Yeah. And whatever message was being conveyed in that podcast post, I said that I was like, when you're ambitious, it's hard to just take it easy, because you just want to keep attacking life and attacking goals and just keep advancing and moving on. And that's me all the time. So that accident taught me to just, I guess, take it one step at a time and learn how to balance things out. And like I said, be more appreciative. Watch out on the road, obviously.
Don't go to Denny's at 2 a.m.
Don't go to Denny's at 2 a.m.
My dad used to tell me, if you're out at like 2 a.m., you're doing nothing good. He used to always tell me that. Like, if you're out at 2 a.m., I'm just eating at a restaurant, then you were probably doing nothing good, because no, honorable person's out at 2 a.m. doing anything. So, I mean, obviously you weren't, but I mean, thank God you were okay. I remember I was messaging you and I felt like I saw you work out literally a month later. Is that when you started working out again after your accident?
Yes.
Like a month later, I'm like, this guy's going to be out. Next thing I know, it's you in a gym. And I'm like, fucking
yes. Josh. I was
bounced back like Wolverine,
to get
dude.
back, dude. Mm-hmm. I got that Wolverine healing factor.
I swear to God you do.
They had me in there for 4 days. I got released. I went home and I was told to lay up for 14 days straight. Don't do anything. Just if you want to get active, go outside and walk, just to keep your body active, just to get some blood flow. And that's exactly what I did. I knew that I wasn't going to be stupid about this, because there was a time, this is a long throwback, but I ended up in high school, I ended up getting a hand injury, and I was told to lay off it. And literally in the cast, I was still training, like on a chest press machine with the cast. And the hand injury was up here, it was a boxer's fracture. because I had punched something that I wasn't supposed to punch, long story short. And so I would rest the chest press machine bar on the bottom of my hand, but I was still getting it. I was still getting it while I was healing. And there's no way I was going to do that with this. Because first of all, the injury consisted of brain bleeding. I believe my face was fractured in 5 different areas. Obviously sutures everywhere, bunch of torn skin. I'm surprised that, because it was a head blow, I'm surprised that my teeth remain intact. I have a cracked skull, and I can still feel like the areas of my skull that are damaged, like even right here,
like a little indentation and stuff.
Like right there. But yeah, I knew that I needed to take it easy because this is something serious.
Yeah, sometimes you need that.
Yeah, and so, but immediately, right as the 14th day crossed, the next day I was in the gym, and I was just doing calisthenics, not trying to lift anything with weight because I didn't want to make my head pulsate. I didn't want to do anything crazy. So I believe I spent a week just doing body weight training. After that, I slowly got back into the weights, and then I picked up pretty fast.
Yeah, you picked up pretty fast.
And yeah, I was right back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty amazed. I was like, oh, okay, he does not care. He's gonna go right back into it. But I know you're a smart guy, so I know you take your health serious.
Yes.
Getting a little bit into obviously the fitness. I know a lot of people follow you for your physique. I met you when you were about to compete at nationals. You competed with Ruben. Obviously, things didn't quite go your way because you didn't turn pro at that show.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy with the way I placed.
No, I mean, obviously, I know you're always a guy that's you don't ever take things as a negative. You take it as, okay, I just got a little better here. Even talking to you after, you know what you have to work on or what you want to work on.
Yes.
So do you have plans in the future to kind of compete again?
I do. I just decided not even a month ago, I decided to do another show. And the show is going to be in November.
Nice.
And it's not NPC, it's actually Muscle Mania.
Muscle Mania, okay, I'm familiar with them.
Yes, I'm managed by Muscle Mania.
Oh, nice.
I came into that management near the end of the year last year. I've done 4 NPC shows, the most recent being that USA show that I did with Ruben. And I initially, the reason I was doing multiple NPC shows was because I wanted to become an IFBB pro naturally. And absolutely nobody believes that I'm natural, but I've never taken any kind of enhancement PED, no kind of steroids ever for the 11 years I've been lifting, and I don't ever plan to. So I was doing those shows to make a statement to say that, hey, I'm a natural athlete, and I just became an IFBB pro. That was why I was doing it, because I wanted to be able to stunt on everybody.
I mean, you definitely held your own. You definitely held your own. So you opened the door for me, so I kind of want to get into that, because that was like the number one question I got when I asked it on the podcast stories was, what are your beliefs on PED?
Mm-hmm. I know that is not for me. I have nothing against people who take it. I believe that if you're going to take it, just simply be safe about it, because it's clear as day how many people are dying, like risking their lives and their health in major ways these days by overdoing it. And by all means, if it's your goal to step on the Olympia stage to become an IFBB pro or whatever it is, I have nothing against it. Be safe about it. Take your health seriously. Get regular blood testing, whatever it is you need to do to make sure that your health is being prioritized. Number 1, hold that over PED use, period. Those are my viewpoints on it. Like I said, I've never used it. There's so much I don't know.
You're like, I don't even want to go. Yeah. I don't want to recommend or not tell somebody to do it.
Right.
Because,
Yeah. All I know is, like I said, just be safe. I'm not going to use it. I don't feel that I need to. But yeah, I understand that people have goals. People want to get things accomplished in life. And sometimes you need to, if you want to get to that level, then sometimes it's necessary. Like, you're not going to step on the Olympia stage without PEDs.
I mean, no. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to do it. So, I mean, whatever goal is leading you in that direction, if you need to take PEDs, then by all means.
But you just feel that's not the direction you ever want to go.
I never want to go there, because I know that I look like this without PED use. And I put in a lot of time to achieve this physique. And I love the way I look right now. I don't want to, of course I want to continue to grow.
Right.
But I want to remain. The thing about getting to that level in bodybuilding in the fitness industry is you become less marketable outside of fitness. I'm a guy who does bodybuilding. I'm a fitness model. I make music. I act. And I know that to maintain a positive appeal to these people in other industries outside of bodybuilding and fitness, you cannot get all the way there because nobody's going to want to see you anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean, you're in a fixed role if your
Exactly.
physique is like a Mr. Olympia,
Right.
like I always refer to like a Jay, because I remember Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman when they were huge. Like I cannot see them doing any other character than either being a bully or being a evil boss somewhere.
Right. And like somebody like Big Ramy.
Oh yeah.
And I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love him. But what is he gonna do? He's huge. I don't, outside of something being like just knowing him as being that huge guy and something in bodybuilding, something in fitness, I know that if he pushed for it, he could end up making his way outside of that and do something else. But it's gonna be very tough because he has that look. He has that bodybuilder like Olympia. He's all the way there.
Yeah.
And to backtrack, I don't know even how that works, but it's just tougher is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
When you take it that far. And I'm trying to dip my foot in every single puddle that I can, being out here in LA where the opportunities are endless. I'm trying to do it all.
Oh, of course.
And I like to look like this, look aesthetic, still be able to function like a regular human being. Like I can do this. I can do all these things.
Yeah, well, I'm nowhere as big as you, but I can do that.
I like to be an athlete. I like to be aesthetic. I love to train. And there are other passions I have outside of this. Like I said, music, which is why I moved to LA. Acting, which is something I got into after I moved to LA, that I am taking seriously. And that's basically what I'm saying is I want to be able to do more than just that. I don't want to be just that fitness bodybuilder.
Right.
I don't like to have a cage put on me. I don't like to be shackled down ever.
So I would say, just kind of talking to you, a lot of your audience wants to know kind of what era of bodybuilding you prefer. I'm going to say, you would say what 80s, 90s bodybuilding is kind of be. I mean, I'm not going to say 2000s because 2000s they were already mass monsters. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, did you have a look like that you? I know growing up it was your uncle, but was there someone that you always aspired that was like, hey, this is the bodybuilder that if I could look like, I would look like?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never had a visualized body, like physique figure that I wanted to look like. I just wanted to be bigger. From day one, I just wanted to get bigger. I ended up getting into bodybuilding at a later time. And of course, there are bodybuilders that I love, and I love the way they look. I love their posing. I love their work ethic, their look. But as far as wanting to look like somebody, never. If anything, I like not even bodybuilders, more so anime. More so like, because like those were the come up figures that really got me fired up. Like Goku, like Naruto, these guys who were on the bottom before and made their way all the way up to the top and continue to fight and just continue to progress. And that's where a lot of my mindset, my work ethic, my discipline, my drive comes from. And I say this to everybody, if it wasn't for these animes that I grew up on, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I feel like, there are times I post pictures and that's what I see when I look at myself. I'm like, yo, I'm a real life anime character.
You really are, though. Yeah, I mean, you really are. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying too, because obviously I own 2 gyms, so I see people come and go all the time, and I've seen these guys that are just mass monsters that I'm like, well, I mean, I respect it, but at the same time, it's like I don't think I would want to look like that because I know the amount of everything that goes into it, But I see a guy with a physique like you. And I'm like, well, that looks desirable. But even some people look at you and they still think,
yes.
I mean, that's probably the number one question, which we'll get to right now. It's like the number one question I got.
Gotcha.
One question I do have for you, and this is something I listened to Raw Talks with Bradley Martin. Yes. He had Ronnie Coleman on there, and he asked an interesting question that I thought I would ask you. Do you feel like social media has kind of ruined the fitness industry in the sense of, if you think back to the 80s and 90s, those guys weren't worried about likes or content. They were just in there working, kind of similar to your work ethic now. You go to Zoo Culture. You've been to my gym. You've been to a lot of gyms. You see the tripods. You see the people doing stuff for the gram. Do you feel like social media itself has had a negative or a positive effect on the fitness industry?
Oh, that is a very good question. I believe both sides. It's had its positive impact. It's had its negative impact. Positive impact meaning it's gotten more people into the lifestyle.
Yes.
And it's been able to motivate a lot of people, teach a lot of people, educate, and inspire through everybody displaying their physique, showing their kind of workouts, giving them knowledge how to eat, what they eat, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's correct for them, what's not correct for them. As far as, I won't say the fitness industry, I will say gym culture has definitely taken, I guess, common stereotypes as to how gyms should be. And a lot of people don't agree with seeing cameras in the gym because they're more old school, and a lot of people just don't understand. A lot of people, like whenever I'm in the gym and I'm recording, I don't do that just for the hell of it, because I'm actually a paid sponsored model. And I do this because it's my business, and it's how I get paid. It's how I pay my bills. And I know that I inspire others, and I know they want to see what I'm up to. And a lot of times, just somebody seeing me in the gym is enough to motivate them to get the hell off their ass and get in there too. So there's reason for me doing everything. I never do it just to admire myself, or just to admire the pump, or just because I look good. So I feel like a lot of it is just people don't have that, they can't understand. They don't have that respect enough to know that this is what's going on. It's not just how you're seeing it. It's not just somebody trying to be obnoxious and take up this whole space. Even though sometimes people are like, they're negative like that.
Yeah.
And there are those bad people who will, I guess, tell you to like get out of their way, or like if you walk in between their video, they will get mad and cause a scene. So like there are goods and bads.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that encompasses the whole thing.
No, I mean, it's a loaded question.
It is.
Because for one, you make a living off of social media.
Yeah.
And so obviously the pros I've seen from it, from just some of the trainers, is they're able to make a 6-figure income doing what they love, right? And you always want someone to pursue their dreams and make an income for themselves and their family doing something they love. That's all. Ultimately, that's all of our goal, right? I don't want to be in a cubicle. I don't want to be in a cage. I want to be doing something that provides for my family, but I enjoy it, and I get it's a respect to me, right? It's a respectable job for me. So
Yes.
the
That's
negative,
number one.
the negative I've seen is that. And I feel like with filming, obviously my gym, both gyms, we do a lot of content.
I love that.
We do a lot of content. We all know, we all have tripods, we all do it, but we also get the workout in. I think where the negative comes into is when you go to a public gym, and those people did not sign up for that, right? The house mom that wants to come in there, do her cardio, maybe feels insecure. She doesn't want to be recorded as you're hitting your 315 for reps. She's in the background.
Yes.
You know, so I listened to that podcast with William Bradley and Ronnie, and Ronnie kind of had the same response as you. It's like, it's good and bad. And I feel like now I follow like Joey Swole, and I see he's doing a movement of putting those people on blast.
Be better than that.
Be better than that,
Yes.
right? That do show that negative side, because for one, you're an intimidating guy. But the good thing about social media and about you is when they get to know you and they follow your stories, you do motivate people to get into the gym. And that's what I've always loved about you. So I feel like the negative for me is our gym is content friendly.
Yes.
Zoo culture is content friendly. Don't do that stuff at Alley Fitness.
Right,
Don't do
right.
that stuff at Gold Gym. Don't set it up. Those people that paid the membership, they did not sign up for that. You got to find a gym that caters to what the environment that you want is.
Yes.
So that's all I have to, because we got a lot of questions about that. Like,
I like your viewpoint on it.
because we all signed up for certain things. We all
Exactly.
get into fitness for our own reason. Not everyone wants to be as big as you. Not everyone wants to step on stage. Some people just want it for their health.
Mm-hmm. And I know, just like Joey says, because he puts this in context a lot, how people will be insecure, like you said, and they don't want to be seen on video. Like, a lot of them don't even know where to start, and they're in a bad place mentally, where they're like, I was at that rock bottom, they're at that rock bottom, and they're getting in there for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And they don't even like looking at themselves in the mirror.
Right.
And some people over here just getting them in the background, or simply recording them and being mean about it and putting it on social media, like I've seen in some of these videos Joey gets on.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of ways it's been negatively impacting in the fitness industry like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah.
Go to a content-friendly gym, Zoo culture, self-made. And I'm sure there are plenty others.
Oh, there's a lot of them. And that's why I always tell people, yes, I own self-mades, but there's so many gyms that I go to myself, and I love the environment, and I feel like social media has kind of cultivated that culture of, the way I see it is everyone's recording each other because we are trying to get everybody to grow, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, you want to be big on social media, show off your physique, show off your knowledge, give a tutorial on how you do a squat. And that's the way I look at it. And that's the way I've always looked at it. But I do understand both sides of it. But the biggest thing is social media has made the world such a smaller place. 135 people that I know that follow you.
Right.
So if you shoot that video and you're in the background, you end up in the gym fail, Have you seen the
my
IG?
God, yes.
You know, for us, it's a good laugh, but for that person that's on there, that could be everything.
Yes.
Everybody's tagging them and making fun of them. And it's like, you know what? I don't even want to work out anymore because of that. So I understand both sides, but I just wanted to get your view on that because we do have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions for you.
That was a great question there.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm glad we got to encompass that.
so this is questions asked by you guys, and I call them your fans. We had another guest on here. She calls them her family. So I'm gonna go with this. This is your family's questions that they have for you. Nice. So let me pick a couple quick hitters, and then we'll get into some in-depth ones.
Okay.
So this one is, you are into modeling right now.
Yes.
I'm sorry, acting. So what sort of roles appeal to you in acting? The hero or the villain?
Man, I can see myself. First of all, let's go the dark route. Villain. I can see myself in both. And the reason I can see myself in a villain role is because I've always had this edgy look to me. In the gym, outside of the gym. I'm usually more so of the resting douche face guy. Obviously, when you talk to me, you see I'm all high and jolly, but outside of simple conversation, I portray like a don't mess with me kind of look on a regular basis. And I would love to display that in a villain role. I feel like I can embody a villain very well. On the other end of the spectrum, I believe I do have very, very good leadership qualities. And I have a well put together physique, if I have the ability to say that. Don't want to come off as being bragging and like boasting, but I look good.
Yeah.
I have a good build. So I know I could fit into a superhero body, a costume, an outfit. And I know I have that drive, just mental wise, I have that drive and that don't back down mentality. Just me living everyday life. So I know if I put that into a superhero role, it would end up coming out very nice.
I can see you as a hero would be a Captain America for me.
Captain America?
Villain would be a buff-ass Joker.
Really?
I can see that because you, like you kind of said, like you are very happy at times, but then you could portray that dark side, and I kind of feel like that's what Joker is. Joker gets happy over, but then with the makeup and the cut off jacket, I can see a buff Joker.
What?
Easily.
This man said cut off
jacket. Was that DC? Yeah, DC.
Yes.
Reach out to your boy. This one I think we kind of touched on, but you didn't really give an answer, so now I'm going to force you to give an answer.
Let's go.
Who are is inspiration for bodybuilding idols from the golden era? So if you had to pick, if you had to say a name, who would be an inspiration from bodybuilding? So someone that, I mean, maybe you don't want to look like them, but maybe you're like, man, I respect their work ethic. I respect what they stand for in the industry. Got you.
I love Francis Bonfato.
Oh, okay.
His posing and his physique are excellent. His V-taper,
almost unmatched.
Almost unmatched.
Almost
and
unmatched.
There's this specific routine that I was watching to get ready for my last show and the show before that. And I was modeling, not trying to steal from his routine, but I was modeling the flow and how he put together his, like the buildup of his routine. And I love his physique. I love the way he did it. It was just a whole show. It was extraordinary. I love just his whole golden era persona. Obviously, Frank Zane is also, symmetry-wise, aesthetic-wise, he's a pioneer.
Yeah.
And I definitely find a lot of inspiration from him. Arnold, because of his cockiness.
Yeah.
His cockiness and his his work ethic as well. I've seen his videos working out. I've watched Pumping Iron, of course, and he just motivates me to see how hard he would go in the gym, how he would have a great time, how he would never feel under pressure. At least he would never portray it. He was always just.
He was the one applying the pressure.
Exactly, and he knew he was running the game. You couldn't tell him something to make him feel intimidated or make him feel doubtful. He was just there mentally. That mindset that Arnold had is something I
like those. Some good ones.
Yeah.
Let's go with this one. Have you considered releasing any original songs? Because we know you're into music.
I am working on a song right now, actually.
Are you really?
My first ever studio song, yeah.
Nice, okay.
And it's
what genre is it?
It's rock.
Rock? Okay, I could see that. See?
I grew up with rock
okay.
before everything. I got into Green Day, me and my brother. We got into Green Day. That was the first band I ever got into.
Who doesn't like Green Day, though?
American Idiot album.
Yeah.
And from there, I got into every Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin, Disturbed, Slipknot, freaking Avenged Sevenfold. I got into all the rock bands. And so that will always be my domain. That's where I started. And then I ended up branching out into hip hop, pop, even a little country. What I won't do though is dubstep. I can't. The techno, I can't.
Country, see, that's where you lost me. I was with you all the way till you said country. My wife loves country. I cannot stand country. Don't DM me, you guys, because I'm not going to respond to any of your country suggestions.
I respect it.
Do you have a release date for that? Or are you just,
The song?
you're still working on it? Or?
I'm still working on
it. So stay tuned.
This is definitely, since it's my first song, I don't want to rush it.
Of course.
First of all. Secondly, I'm still building it. I have the instrumental for the most part there. And I was sitting on it because I play guitar.
Yeah.
I was sitting on a guitar riff for a long time. And I knew that it was something that I liked. I finally took it to the studio because I have a good buddy of mine named Blake. And he's allowing me to use his studio.
Nice.
He just wants me to come in whenever just to put this track down because there's actually a Hotline Bling cover that I did on YouTube a while back, like years ago.
Really?
And it's been up there for a minute. And I showed it to him before he got me in the studio. And ever since then, he was like, bro, we got to get you an actual song and make it actually soundtrack it. And so I took his advice. I finally got in there after contemplating it for forever. And I'm very glad I did.
All right, so coming soon, you guys. Check out his IG for that. This is an interesting one. Do you smoke marijuana?
I do not. I've never smoked anything in my entire life. Not once.
Do you take any? Obviously, you don't take any PEDs. You don't smoke marijuana. You don't drink alcohol.
Very straight edge.
I don't either. And people trip out on that. I've never smoked in my life.
I know a lot of people. They'll see how I act on my stories sometimes in my energy, and they'll be like, "Are you high?" I've been asked that before.
Oh, really?
And I always crack up, dude, because it's just me being me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even be acting crazy. It's just
so nothing. You don't drink. You don't smoke.
No.
Okay.
The last time I drank, because I've drank before. It's
Obviously,
not like
yeah.
I never did.
Yeah.
When I was drinking when I wasn't supposed to, and I was doing it socially just because I wanted to see how it was. I wanted to experience that phase. I was hanging with a crew of my old buddies, and we were stupid enough to believe that the club would be open on Christmas. So we ended up driving freaking like 40 minutes to Daytona, which was close to where I was living in Florida. And we arrived to the club, nobody's there. Oh, it's Christmas night, it's closed. Oh, we should have thought of that.
Bro, none of y'all got family or what? You guys come to my house for Christmas next time.
Dude.
You ain't got nothing to do. We have a big Christmas thing. You and your brother are welcome to come.
Shoot, I'll take you up on that.
Oh, dude, they'll definitely trip out on you.
I was pre-gaming on the road there because I was familiar with drinking and I knew that I could handle some alcohol. So I was pre-gaming with a freaking bottle of Grey Goose.
Oh, bro, you don't pre-game with hard shit because that's
I ended up emptying more than half of that thing straight, no chaser. By the time we got there, I was already tipsy. And then I had mixed it with, and this is where I jacked up, I mixed it with a white can of Monster, the 0 calorie.
You still took a Monster.
And that, after I ended up blacking out that night. I threw up in the dude's car. I woke up the next morning on the couch. I was shown the footage of the night before.
Oh, man.
And that's when I was like, because I never even really had a thing for drinking, period.
Yeah.
I never liked the taste of any of it.
Yeah.
I just did it just to freaking have fun with everybody else.
Right. So, yeah, social drinker.
That was the time when I was like, okay, I think I've had enough.
Yep.
Then the next time I drank, because that was 2015, the Eagles football team, because me and my brother were born in Philly, they won the Super Bowl in 2017. Oh. I believe it was 2017. So I popped the bottle.
Look at this smile. I'm a Niner fan, so I'm still waiting for my day to come.
Man.
Yeah. Please.
There, bro.
I've had 2 times where I've been on suicide watch. My wife's like, "You good?" No, just don't talk to me right now. So I know that smile. I want that smile someday. Yeah. Eagle fan, stand up. This one, interesting. Do you have any religious beliefs?
I was raised very Christian, and me, my brother, and my mother, and she's very Christian even still to this day. I am to the point in my life where I don't feel comfortable following this religion without all the answers and just going off of simple belief alone. I don't feel comfortable with that. And for that reason, because I grew up Christian myself. And I was on it. I was praying. I was going to church back to back. I was there, like fully. And I definitely had a strong relationship with God or the higher power. And now I've taken a step back to really, I guess, see for myself and come up with my own conclusion. Because in my head, it's too much. It's too many religions, too much being said, too many beliefs, too many people preaching the wrong word. And I guess what I can say is I've had enough of just listening and feeding off of that, because religion can be good and it can be bad. And obviously the good things about it are that it keeps you on track with a set of rules, like righteous rules to follow. So it's taught me a lot in that aspect, and I still keep a lot of that in my daily life. But what I've had enough of is how everyone has their own story, and it's too much being thrown in the cesspool. So one day I plan to really do my own research and make my final decision on as to what I should believe in, what I should follow, because I do believe that it's a good thing to have something to believe in.
You do believe in a higher power,
I believe in a higher power. I don't know what it is.
So let me ask you a question. When you were getting drug out of the car, did you ever say, "Thank God I'm alive"? Did you say, "Thank God for my safety"?
I will be honest, I don't know if I ended up saying that.
Did you think that?
I do
Okay.
remember thinking that this is definitely someone's watching over me. Someone. I am definitely being saved. I'm being given a second chance. Definitely given a second chance, because that could have been it, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was pretty bad. There's two good ones I want to end with. This one, I think now that, I mean, you never really put on there that you do PEDs or that you don't. So now I feel like this is the first time I've seen that you're natty. This is actually a question for someone that believes you're a natty. And they said, what advice would you give an up and coming natty bodybuilder?
Okay. I would say, okay, an up and coming natty bodybuilder, what advice? So I'm assuming, well, I won't assume. He's probably doing shows. He's probably not.
I mean, I looked at his profile. He looks like he aspires to do shows.
Sick. Okay. I would give him this advice. Continue for as long as you can on the natural road, because you'll never know the true potential of your own physical genetics and your own limitations until you get to that point, or at least, because I've been at this for 11 years. I've gone to the point where I saw the gains come fast, and I'm to the point now in my career, my fitness career, to where they're coming very slow, because I already have a lot of muscle mass on me. It's hard to continue throwing muscle mass on top of muscle mass naturally. So I would say do as much as you can, the natural route. Continue posing if you're getting ready for a show, because that sharpens out the muscle bellies, adds maturity, and it ultimately fine-tunes your physique, because it's easy. Someone can be big. It's easy to be big. But what a lot of people don't understand is simply posing has a lot to do with the way your physique looks in the end game.
I think it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because imagine like a lot of these golden era guys, if they weren't posing, I know that their peaks, their bicep peaks wouldn't be that tall, wouldn't be that round. The separation in their legs, they wouldn't be all the way up there. They would have the size and they would have the girth, but as far as the sculpted look, everything being chiseled, that comes from posing and locking into those poses, contracting muscles under pressure, isometric hold, that you don't get simply from just lifting weight and pushing for those extra reps. So I would suggest not giving into the pressure, because even myself, I've thought about it quite a lot of times. As a matter of fact, even recently at my last show, I thought about hopping on PEDs, but ultimately I came to the conclusion, like, dude, I stand for much more than just fitness, because I am a natural athlete and I claim it wholeheartedly. And I know that people don't believe me, but for the ones who do believe me, I am making a statement for not only myself, but everybody else who actually believes that it's attainable. And everyone else who doesn't believe, this is just, not that I'm trying to throw it in their face, but I'm trying to make everybody understand and believe, or at least accept that this is possible, dude. So keep doing it. Keep going the natty route for as long as you can. And then respectfully, whatever decisions you make down the line, go your route. I already spoke on that, but I believe natural is the best way.
Love that. Let's end with this one right here. And this is just, what's something that, let me reword this for them. What's something that your audience doesn't know about you, that you haven't shared on social media, that you'd be willing to share on the podcast?
Something that my audience doesn't know about me that I'd be willing to share.
I think for me, what I got from that is you post a lot of your fitness. And I know personally, we've had a discussion, you're a lot more than just a fitness figure to me, right? If anyone that listens through this all the way through, they know what you stand for. They know that you're solid in your beliefs. I would say, what's something you'd want to say to your audience? Leave them with that you don't have the time to do a story and have like 6 stories done, just so they know kind of a little bit more about Joshua, instead of just the Joshua Blaze.
Okay, I will say something that I've spoken very, very faintly in stories. I am not indestructible. As much as I portray it, as much as we all portray that we are unbreakable, indestructible, there was a time when I thought that. And as life goes on, I realize more and more that I've built a solid foundation for myself. But there are times when I'm tested. There are times where I'm tried. There are times where I fall. There are times where I break. There are times where I break down emotionally and mentally. It's just something that everybody deals with. And I want everybody to not be staggered by it, not fall victim to it, because it's what we do as human beings. We're going to go through those times, but it's just a matter of how you adapt and overcome, which is the Marine Corps' motto. It's what you do in reaction to a specific event and something that goes down. How are you going to bounce back from it? So in those times, I always remind myself that, hey, I'm young and I have potential. I'm loved. I'm surrounded by supportive people, and I have plenty of resources. It could be much worse. There are people who are going through much more than I am. I have absolutely no reason to lie on my face right now. I have to continue walking with my head held high and my chest up, because I know that people look up to me and they look to me for that motivation. And everyone finds motivation in somebody. I suggest you and everybody continue walking that path with that confidence, no matter what happens. So that's what I would like to leave. I'm human. I'm just like everyone, and I can be related to. I'm not someone held high on this pedestal. I consider myself in the same wavelength as everybody. We're all equal. But I would suggest that this is what I'm trying to say. No matter how hard life gets, it's important that you push through, just like I'm pushing through every day. Battles are made to be overcome.
I love that. But at the same time, you are one of the most genuine. We here don't like to use the word influencers. I've used that with a couple other guests. They're like, I'm not an influencer. I'm just a normal guy. But you are. I've met a lot of people, thankfully, in this industry. And you are one that always stuck out of my mind as being one of the most humble, one of the most respectful, and also one of the most knowledgeable when it comes to fitness. You know, some people look good, but they don't practice what they preach. You literally carry your meals and everything with you everywhere you go. I don't think I've ever caught you without it. So for me, it's been an honor to have you here. I appreciate it.
I love every second of this.
Oh, thank you, bro. We'll have to have you on again when you're getting ready for your competition.
Let's go.
Where can people find you on social media?
My IG is Joshua J. Blaze. That's Blaize. And Blaze, I know a lot of people will probably ask where that's from, because people immediately associate that with smoking.
That's probably why we got those questions. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But no, Blaze stands for the fiery passion in my heart and soul for everything that I take seriously and love in life. That's my IG, YouTube, Joshua Manoi, my last name. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And
Perfect.
I'm always grinding 24/7.
If you guys want some inspiration, fitness-wise, any-wise, I mean, just his work ethic kind of pertains to everything to me. You know, it's just a way of life for you. So follow him, check out his stories, show him some love. But as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, peace, guys.